CNN is going to run this show on Sunday at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern. I saw a little plug for this show earlier today. I lost my shit over this. If you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen it. The show is titled, quote, "Special Report to Heaven and Back." Anderson Cooper is involved too, of all people. He usually does a decent job compared to other people on CNN. Apparently he's getting involved in the special report about people who have gone to heaven and back. And on CNN.com they describe it as, quote, "Their stories are extraordinary. Randy Kay speaks with people who were on the brink of death. When they say they left this world for another, they offer answers to questions we would all like to ask." Now, maybe there are people who would hear me being angry about this and they would say, well, it might be too soon for you to criticize it because it hasn't even aired yet. And that might be a fair criticism, but keep in mind, man, the name of the show is Special Report to Heaven and Back. You could have named it something different. Special Report, how people perceive the afterlife. You got to put in something to say, well, this is subjective, but you're saying it's a report as in this is news, this is information, this is factual, and then you're saying to heaven and back. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You're a news channel, CNN, and you're arguably the most respected news channel, although at this point that shouldn't be the case. You're not the Christian Broadcasting Network. You're not the Trinity Broadcasting Network. You don't have correspondents like Pat Robertson and John Hagee. You're supposed to be serious. You're supposed to care about data and information. It's supposed to be dry and factual. Your job is simply to get the facts out, get the information out, not to get the opinion or the speculation out. And this entire show, it's got to be that. It has to be that. Why? Because think about this. If the way that they're implying this show is going to go is the reality, then CNN is basically saying it's a fact that heaven exists. It's a fact. It's a fact. And also, how about this? Keep this in mind too. So, of course, there's some people who have almost died or were clinically dead for X amount of time and then they came back and they say, oh, I saw a white light. It was beautiful. Okay, there's a couple people in that boat. But what about the people who had similar experiences from India? And they said, oh, yeah, no, I realize reincarnation. It's true. You know, I noticed Hindu gods and I realized that what I believe is correct. Or how about the Muslims who had similar experience? Oh, I died and I saw Muhammad and Allah. Turns out Islam is the correct religion. The Quran is literally true. I saw it. I died and then I came back. Or I came close to dying and I came back. How about the Buddhists who say the same thing? How about Mormons who might have said that? Scientologists. How about all these different people from all these different religions that claim, no, I almost died and I had that experience? Or not even people who almost died, people who just claim I had a personal experience, I saw the God of my religion, okay? Either a God exists or a God doesn't exist. And if a God does exist, it would be either it's the God of a particular religion or it's not. But we live in a world where there's people who have had all different types of experiences from all across this spectrum, all claiming that they have the one answer. Whether it's somebody from Islam or Christianity or whatever other religion you want to name, or an atheist who said, yeah, I almost died and I just saw blackness. It was like I was asleep. Okay? So you can't run a report and suggest, well, heaven and back. Of course, it's real. Heaven is factual. And these people are going to explain to you what they saw. But how can you verify it? How can you have to have an expert, a scientist, specialist say, yes, there is indisputable evidence that heaven is real or an afterlife is real. And of course, there's not indisputable evidence of that. But it's amazing they're running their show as if to suggest, no, we know it's real. It's such a gross and horrendous violation of the trust of what your job is. Your job is supposed to be to get information out. But at this point, what you're doing is simply propaganda. Now look, I have an idea, I have an educated guess, let's call it, as to what happens when I die. It's my opinion, I'm guessing, okay? And I'm admitting I'm guessing. I'm not like other people, no, I know it for a fact. No, you don't, shut the fuck up. And what I say is, do you remember the year 1786? Do you remember it? You don't, right? Neither do I. You wanna know why? I wasn't alive. That's what it's gonna be like after you die. Same way it was in the year 1542 to you, same way it was in the year 6. Same way it was in the year 1924. Okay? We weren't around. I wasn't around, right? That's likely what's going to happen when you die. Lights out. You just stop existing. Now, that's my guess. Is it possible something else happens? Of course. Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. But here, look, here's what we know for certain, okay? There are claims in every single holy book that are verifiably not correct. They just make things up. They're just not true. We could prove that it's not true, that it never happened, some of the claims they make, okay? So if anything is furthest from the truth, it's the idea that a heaven would exist and that particular holy books are right, and that's exactly what CNN is going to push. Hey, CNN, you're pathetic.